Have you ever wondered what the difference between suburban living and city living is? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about why we chose suburban living at this point in our lives. Richmond versus Newport News. For those on a journey, come check out my page, Living in Hampton Roads with Jodi Linney. Hi, it's me, Jodi. Check out my page, subscribe, follow me, enjoy watching, email, text, PM me. I'd love to speak and talk to you about all of my relocation advice, knowledge, and just moving and relocating to Hampton Roads. So let's break it down into why we kind of decided to move to Newport News after living in Richmond. The city versus the suburbs, the different feels, the different lifestyles, and kind of what to expect. So I'm going to break it down into a few different groups and kind of explain why we chose to move and shift to Newport News and not just anywhere else in Hampton Roads. Because we could have moved from Richmond, downtown Richmond, we loved our city living, all the way to Ghent, which is very similar in feel, lifestyle, and walkability as Richmond downtown Churchill was. But we decided to kind of move out to Newport News in Hampton Roads instead. The suburbs versus the city has a difference of walkability. And I will say the walkability scores vary greatly, but basically we went from where we could walk everywhere in Richmond. We lived in Churchill in the time, just probably about a year ago, actually. And we could walk everywhere. We had restaurants, we had breweries, we had little mom and pop shops, we had the grocery store, the gym. We kind of were able to walk everywhere, and we did a lot too. The mileage on my car dropped dramatically. We almost didn't even need 2 cars at one point. But I will say the suburban lifestyle basically is a choice that we made in this point of our lives that walkability is fantastic, and we still have some walkability options here in Newport News and where we chose to live because we didn't want to lose all of that. But we also were able to gain a whole bunch of things that we didn't have living in the city. Big box stores, multiple choices in grocery stores, different restaurants and chains. We were able to do a few more things that we weren't able to do. Cut down our commute time to the grocery store. Our grocery store commute used to be about a 40-minute travel time just to get a good grocery store in Richmond. We would go all the way out to the airport and the Publix out there. Now I have choices of grocery stores. I have 3 or 4 different grocery stores within a 5-mile radius from me. So I can go to multiple stores, get the things that I really like, produce, shop around, all of that stuff. It's something I didn't have in Richmond. It wasn't easy. It wasn't flexible like it is here in the suburban lifestyle. I also enjoy the different parks. Yes, Richmond, Churchill, it has so many parks. We were able to walk around and do a few things and some wonderful lifestyles that we lived in. We had beautiful parks, beautiful scenery. But now here in Newport News, I can go to not only parks, I can go to beaches, I can go to waterfronts, I can go to Williamsburg, I can do a whole bunch of stuff. In Newport News, we decided to be centrally located in Hampton Roads. We're near the middle to the end of the peninsula, and then we can hop over the bridges and we can get to Suffolk and we can get to Virginia Beach and Chesapeake and so many more places so easily. And we wanted something that was centralized for our commute times, travel times, and for work times. I work all over Hampton Road. So for me, Newport News is a great central location. I will say we cannot walk to 3 breweries like we did in downtown Richmond and Churchill, but we can drive to 4 or 5, and some are as easy as 2 miles away from us. At this point in our lifestyles, I don't need to stumble home anywhere. I don't need to stumble up a hill or walk up the stairs of Richmond while everybody's jogging and I may have had 1 or 2 beers and have to walk up these horrible stairs that I can just drive, enjoy myself at a brewery for the afternoon, have a DD designated, be responsible, and drive home. And it's still just as nice. We go and make it a day. Instead of just a few hours like we used to, we make it a day event now. And we can even go from 1 or 2 breweries instead of just being parked at 1 all day. I do like that we have that selectivity, that we can go to Tradition, we can go to 1700, we can go to Finch. There's so many different breweries that we can go and hit up here. When before we were walkable to Stone Brewery, and that was a great place to go and spend the day. We were right near Rockets Landing, so we were by waterfront, but you couldn't go swimming in that water. Here, at least in Newport News, I can go to Fort Monroe, I can go swimming in that water, I can go to the Chesapeake Bay, I can go to York, I can go to Williamsburg and go have a beach day. So I really do enjoy that I have a little bit more to choose from here than I did in Richmond. Let's talk about noise pollution when you're living in a city versus living in the suburbs. It's a different type of noise pollution when you chose Newport News over Richmond downtown. I still like to have some noise. I still don't personally want to live out in the middle of the country where there's no noises. So I still like to have a little bit of noise. The quiet scares me. I feel like there's nothing going on and you're in a horror movie right before something goes really, really bad. That's when it's like dead silent. And I don't need that. I don't need to be panicked that somebody's after me in the middle of the woods and I have to choose to go right, left, or in the barn. Everybody knows don't go in the barn, but I would go in the barn. So I like to have a little noise. So with noise pollution, there's a lot of different choices and a lot of different feelings that you can have. So we left living in Churchill. We had fire trucks. A fire station was a block away from us, so we heard them regular, all hours. We also had trains because they were not very far away from us as well. They were only a few blocks, so we heard the trains going all night. We also had the police, just because it is a downtown atmosphere. There was police and ambulance regularly all the time. So you heard a lot of that noise and that noise pollution. And moving to the suburbs, there's a different type of noise pollution. There's birds. I didn't know there were so many types of bird chirps. I have been in the city for a very long time, between personally living in outside of Tokyo, in Boston, outside of Boston, in Richmond City. So bird noises are not something that I'm really used to hearing. Maybe some seagulls, maybe some pigeons, some cooing, some stuff like that. Now I have chirping. That's a whole different noise. It is really neat. I can sit outside in my backyard here in Newport News and probably spot 5, 7, 10 different types of birds. I do not know them all. I got a cardinal, I got a blue jay, and I got some finches, some hummingbirds, and I can't tell you the different types that are out there, but there are a lot and I can hear them, and it is a very nice noise until it's 6 o'clock in the morning and they're waking you up. But you know, better than the ambulance at 2:30 in the morning. So I'll take it. I also chose to live near an airport. So I do have airport noise as well. The airport behind us is the Newport News Williamsburg International Airport. It's a very small airport, but they do actually have jet testing from Langley out here. So our noise pollution here in Newport News, where I am at, is actually very high. It's almost like Virginia Beach and by the military bases over there, the air military installations. It is really cool. We have lived on a military base before in our lifetime, and I really enjoyed listening to the helicopters, watching the drills, listening to the planes land and stuff like that. So for me, the airport noise is actually very calming, soothing, and it's really cool. You can hear the jets being tested, which is a really neat noise. You can hear some of the planes land. It is a smaller airport, so there's not that many planes that come and go throughout the day. And you do know when the military testing is. It does actually happen almost on a schedule. So you can know monthly that there's going to be this testing, or bi-weekly there's going to be this testing. So it's really not that bad to me. It's a personal choice, and I know some people would not like it, but I just need noise. I can't stand the quiet. So for me, this suburb area was perfect because I still had the noises that will lull me to sleep, which I know would probably drive some people crazy, but after living in the city so much, I needed some noise and some air pollution, noise pollution that really just helped my brain unwind at night and all day. It's a nice distraction for me. So I really enjoy the birds, something I didn't have in the city, and I really like the planes. So it is to me better than sirens. You kind of started to tune them out, but I know when guests came and stayed with us when we lived in the city, the sirens and the trains really did bother them. And I know in the beginning when we first lived there, it did bother us too. So when you're talking about the city versus the suburbs, let's talk about neighbors, neighborhood. The idea of the differences between the city and the suburbs really changes the dynamics of living in the neighborhoods. I will say Churchill was a great walkable neighborhood. You would walk, wave at your neighbors. You would know a few neighbors. I knew some people in our condo. It was very nice, but really we have learned and enjoyed our neighbors a little bit more here in the suburbs. We know our neighbors across the street, next door. We know them on a first name basis. We wave at them. We enjoy some barbecues with them, sit down, talk with them. It is a different feel between the city, which I feel is just go, go, go. Even in Churchill, which was a slower neighborhood, it is still go, go, go. You may have a few friends that you know, but here, like, you walk down the street, do your 2-mile walk around the loop of our neighborhood, and you can stop and actually have a conversation with somebody on the other side of the neighborhood that I don't even know on a first name basis, and still talk about the neighborhood, what we like, complain about the HOA, or say that the HOA is doing an amazing job at what they're doing and bringing into our neighborhood. Everybody has an opinion, and it's nice to be able to walk around, wave at people, see people. We've had a few yard sales here, which we were not able to do in the city. Getting to know the neighbors through the yard sales, finding out we have favorite sports in common, or finding out who is our sworn enemy in sports. Those Seminole fans that are around my neighborhood, no thank you. Let's go Gators. Florida teams, if you didn't know. I grew up in Florida, so I lived in Gainesville for 8 years. So Florida Gators are my home team. My husband is a Seminoles fan, so I do know and I do watch those games, but I do not support them. I do not cheer for them, and let's go Gators. But neighbors and neighborhoods, I just feel I have gotten so much closer to the neighbors here than I ever did in the city. You get to know them. I felt when there was bad scenarios, our car got broken into, so we met a whole bunch of neighbors because their cars got broken into. Here in the suburbs, I feel that I've gotten to know my neighbors from moving in. They came out, they said hi, they introduced themselves. I got to know them on good terms. It was a bad thing did happen to a neighbor down the street, but I already knew everybody. We talked about it. We communicated, make sure everybody was safe. It wasn't like that was the first introduction to any of them. So that was really nice. It's been very different with the dynamics and the relationships, and I've really enjoyed it after living in the city so much. It's a different feel, and it's been so nice to have neighbors that you can call friends and bring into the backyard and bring over extra barbecue food that we've smoked and help with computer and stuff that my husband's really great at doing. So it's been really nice to have that connection that we didn't have in the city. I believe that the city has so much to offer and different dynamics, which we made friends and we had them come over because we were in a great location, park, and do big events and different things. It's just a little different here. The HOAs also are very different. We lived in a condo in the city, and I feel like condo apartment living kind of is a big city lifestyle. There's very few single family homes in Richmond. If you go to the west side, there is a little bit in Churchill, but a lot of it is apartments, condos, that kind of city living. Just because of the price, it's a lot cheaper to have a smaller area and also no yard. Those HOAs were a little different. They were a little stricter on what you could and couldn't do in the halls, stuff like that. Here in the suburbs, we have an HOA. We actually chose to have a very strict HOA, and I love the community that we live in because I am used to those rules. I am used to the strictness. I also find as a real estate agent that I enjoy a strict HOA because it keeps my property value up, because my neighbors also have to keep their homes to the same rules and expectations. And so I enjoy our strict HOA, but we have a yard. We have different things. We have different things that the HOA covers. We have a pool. We have a whole different lifestyle that we didn't have in the city, that I can do so much more outdoors in my own personal space or in a pool or a clubhouse. I can even go golfing. Those are things that I was not able to do so much in the city. You'd have to go pretty far to do any of that. So I really enjoy that I can do a 5K in my neighborhood. We have a 5K walking path that I like to walk around. In the winter, I did chicken out. It was a little cold, so I haven't done it. Now is the perfect weather to get back out there. So I'm starting my 1 mile loop again. And once I get used to my 1 mile loop a few times, I'll make it back out to the 5K circuit. So I'm really excited about those different atmospheres. And it's just a matter of what you like and what you're after in your lifestyle. I'm to the point now where I'm ready to work, settle down, have quiet weekends, but still be able to have fun party weekends. I just went to a wonderful Spring Fest in Phoebus this past weekend, and the breweries all came to the Spring Fest. There was food trucks, there was music. I got to go to that street festival and have a great time. We could do that in Richmond, and we did do it a lot in the summer, but I felt like that was all we did in Richmond, was go out on a regular basis, night after night. And it's nice to be able to stay at home and enjoy the outside and barbecue and hang out with neighbors and have quiet weekends, or, you know, have a few more household projects to really make this house our own and shine. And so I've really enjoyed the suburb living. But like I said, it's once again a personal perspective and what you like. And there are very big differences between the HOAs and between your space, your yard, your walkability, and what lifestyle you're ready for. If you want a go, go, go lifestyle, City of Richmond provides that. Ghent provides that in Hampton Roads. You can have a high walkability score. I enjoy using my car again. I enjoy having a few restaurants and a bar and a pool that I can walk to, so I can still go out and have a nice time and still be a smart, responsible adult and walk somewhere if I have to, because I wanted to go out and have a few extra drinks. But I don't have to do that every night, and I know that I won't really be forced to do it every night because I have to drive everywhere and somebody has to be the DD. So I do like changing that style of living just a little bit by living out here. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the outdoor spaces and different lifestyles between city livers and suburb living. So city livers, basically, you have to go and make sure you really enjoy the outside. You do a lot of long walks. You go to a few of the parks, a few of the walking areas. You do a lot of people watching. That was always fun for me, walking down the streets of Churchill myself. Go a little bit further by living in the city to larger green spaces. So if I wanted to go to a beach, I had to drive 40 minutes. If I wanted to go, I didn't even have a pool actually that I could really use in the city. You had to have the Y membership and stuff like that. But you could go and do a few things if you walked certain trails. Bike paths, the city was was very friendly with biking. Richmond is known for a really great biking community. There's a really great biking trail that goes all the way from Williamsburg to the downtown city central of Richmond. I would walk that every now and then. I'm not a big biker, but I know a lot of people in Richmond really like that. And here in Newport News, it is still bike friendly, but I do have to say the bike paths on the main roads are not as friendly as they were in Richmond. So if you are a biker, Richmond City really nailed that for that lifestyle and that type of community. Newport News, not as well. Downtown Norfolk is getting bike friendly, and they have taken some notes on real permanent bike lanes for bikers. So that's nice in Hampton roads. And once again, that's the comparable. Norfolk, Ghent area is the comparable if you wanted that. But I'm really happy that I have the outdoor spaces. Huge parks are near me. I live in a community that has a ton of green space, that has a golf course, that has a pool. I have 3 beaches that are within a 10-mile radius of me, so I can choose where I want to go. And I enjoy having that. I also enjoy having a backyard. I enjoy having a front yard. I don't enjoy mowing it, which I might have to get out there and do today, but I do enjoy having that space that I can call my own. And in the city, I didn't have that own space. I had a communal space always, or a communal park that we would go to enjoy green space, but I didn't have my own private green space. So that's really nice about the suburb living. The other thing that I really had to think about from moving from the city to the suburbs is I do like street festivals. Like I said before, I went to a street festival recently down in Phoebus just this past weekend, for a Spring Fest. In Richmond, it's spring, summer. There are festivals every weekend, everywhere. There's so much to do. They really do a lot of different festivals between Scott's Addition and Carey Street and a whole bunch of different areas. Churchill has their own festivals as well. It is a lot of fun. I do have to drive a little bit further now for festivals like that here in Hampton Roads, but because I'm in Hampton Roads in Newport News, the space in the different cities and the different districts here offer, I would almost say there's competing ones. There could be 3 or 4 on a weekend that I have to figure out which one suits me and my taste best. I like a good car show. I like good food. I like some music. So something that has a little bit of all those with a few brewery tents put in is really effective and really calls my name, and also makes it a great date afternoon with my husband. So we like to do stuff like that. I would say in Richmond, it was more a smaller festival that was dedicated to 1 or 2 things. Here, because there's more space, there's also more events. I can choose one that kind of hits something that has multiple different things that we would like to do and make really a day or afternoon out of it. But having to go a little farther instead of just walking in my backyard for festivals is a little bit different. So, it's kind of a little spread out. I have a lot more to choose from to go to here, but they're not as convenient to walk to like they were when I lived downtown. So we had to move due to my husband's job, but that doesn't stop us from looking at the cost of living. Also making the choices of where in Newport News that we wanted to land, more suburban area that we chose as Newport News. The cost of living really does change. From city living, we could have gone and moved back to Ghent and had a different price per square foot and a higher cost of living with a smaller space. So we were used to that in Richmond. So I kind of laid it out and actually looked at the cost of living. I know our cost of living was it was roughly the same monthly, what we've actually done, but we have almost 3 times the space that we did in Richmond to have the same payment monthly. So that changes the cost of living greatly when you think about it. So just to give some rough estimates, I went to niche.com, so you can go and check out that site as well. It's going to be listed here. And there's highlights on Richmond cost of living, as well as the cost of living in Newport News. So I basically get these cost of livings in the rental markets from rentcafe.com to give you the average cost of living. Check out this site as well if you're moving and looking for, just to get an idea of how much rent costs and how much homeownership costs. We looked at a different website as well, and that website, as below, will be realtor.com to check out the average mortgage rates for each city, just so you can get an idea. But so when I broke these 2 down, I'm going to give you the numbers that I came up with for Richmond versus Newport News. Richmond's rental rate was $1,384 a month for 862 square feet on average. So that is a smaller place. It's a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, depending on. So we had a 900 square foot. That was 2. We got lucky, and with 1 bath. Just an average to give you an idea. Rent in Newport News, though, is roughly $1,209 a month for 922 square feet. So you would get a 2 bedroom instead of 1 bedroom or 1.5 or 1 in a den, and have just a little bit more square footage, about 100 square feet, which does make a difference when you're living in close quarters with people for a while. Home ownership, though, it is a different price range for sure. So you're looking at a big range depending on if you're a first-time home buyer and what you're kind of looking for. But Richmond City for home ownership is an average of $321,000 to buy a home or a condo. Home ownership in Newport News on average is roughly $250,000 for your first home or condo. So that is kind of a big difference when you're looking at trying to buy per square foot. The cost per square foot broken down would change greatly as well. So when you look at those numbers, I found that living out here in Newport News, we got a lot more bang for our buck, more space, and we're able to kind of expand in this home a little bit more, especially working from home for us. That was a big thing. I now work a lot from home. My husband also is now doing some working from home and working on his MBA at William & Mary. Go William & Mary, go Tribe. So when we're looking at that, the space that we get here living in the suburbs versus living in the cities really was a big factor for us, especially with spreading out, moving from home, and thinking that this is going to be our forever house. We really wanted to be able to spread out a little bit more. This is not a temporary living. We are planning on having this as our permanent residence for a really long time. So we wanted something that gave us the extra space instead of city living. Maybe at one point when we downsize, we might change and decide something different later on in our life, but we were ready to expand instead of downsize. And this is the first time in our 12 years, 13 years of marriage now that we actually went larger in square footage. We have downsized our whole marriage every time we move because we just keep moving from city to city to city and living in downtown atmospheres that really were a lot of fun for us. But at this point, knowing that this is going to be our forever home where we're setting up retirement and another phase in our life, we really wanted to spread out. We really wanted the extra square footage. So moving from a city to a suburb was the next decision for us, not because we are quieter and want a slow pace. We still are very active. We do different things. We are always out and about doing stuff, or even grilling in our backyard and making an entertainment weekend. It's just, we wanted the space to be able to do it and be able to stretch our arms when we're working all week from home. So basically, when you're looking at it, Richmond provided a big city feel and a very small square footage, really, when you look at the size of Richmond City proper. But it gave you so much and a big punch with a ton of activity, a go, go, go lifestyle, and just a lot to do, but everything was ton to do in very small settings. While living in the suburbs, and especially Newport News, we basically have so much to do, but it's very spread out. We all have a little space. We have a space to breathe. We have space to do stuff. But because we're still part of Hampton Roads, we still have the activity level of a big city. We just have to drive a little bit further to get to the big city activity. We go to Hampton. We go to downtown Newport News. There's a festival next weekend in downtown Newport News. There's Virginia Beach activities. There's stuff in May we're going to go check out there. There's York, Williamsburg. I was in Williamsburg just this week for a great Colonial Williamsburg activity, Colonial Williamsburg Lights, where they light up the governor's palace, and it's beautiful. It's only done for an hour each night. It's about a month that they do the activity. It is fantastic. So there's still so much to do. I just have to drive a little more, but I have grocery stores. I have so much. I can go shopping. I can find the big box stores, and I don't have to drive 45 minutes. I literally just drove around looking for stuff to decorate my backyard that I actually get to make my own. And I drove around to 5 different stores all in a 3-mile radius for me. So I kind of wanted that atmosphere. I wanted that flexibility now. I wanted to change patterns, but still have the go, 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 because I still can't sit still. I'll never be able to sit still. I enjoy doing stuff. I enjoy having busy weekends, but I'm just excited that it's not right in my backyard anymore, that I can have a peaceful weekend and not have to just walk to my backyard and have the party going on. I can actually drive somewhere to have the party going on. So it's kind of up to you. What lifestyle, what point in life are you at? Answer now. Check me out. Write it down. Do you like the city living? Do you like the suburb living? What do you wish you had? What inspires you to stay? What are you looking at next time you move? Like, I've mapped this all out and really thought this through when we were moving to Newport News. What we really wanted out of our environment really helped us figure out what neighborhood we wanted to live in. So check that out. I hope this helps you with your next move. I hope this helps you figure out if you are a big city dweller or if you're ready for a suburban lifestyle. Please follow, check me out, text, call, PM me. I would love to hear from you. Subscribe and check out my next video. Can't wait to hear from you soon.